Good morning, friends. How are you all doing? Good. I'm a software engineer and I'm Anjan. And how many of you here have this weird notion about software engineers? I don't know what these guys do. Sitting in the cubicle and coding and talking to the computer the whole day. They must be insane. Have you had that impression? Well, I too had that when I started. But here, I'm not going to give you a boring technical talk. I'm not here for that. I'm here to talk about something very basic but significant about our mind and senses. How many of you here have heard about cutthroat academic competition, intense academic competition? Any of you? I guess all of you. Now in India, where I was born and raised, this competition is so intense that every percent and every point you lose or gain, it's a matter of life and death. Students really work hard days and weeks together to prepare for the examination, and once they reach the examination and see the question paper, their eyes pop up. Fears creep up. Pen drops, hope fades, bad luck goes up, and then they give up. And some students are even smart. They tend to, in order to get through this, they tend to make shorter relationships. What I mean by that is not relationships between girlfriends and boyfriends, but it's between them and their books. Before the exam, they are tightly coupled. They are in deep commitment, made for each other. I love you. And after the exam, they break up. I don't know. Now, given such an intense academic environment, I topped for 9 consecutive years. And just before the semifinal of the 9th grade exam, something serious and tragic happened. My father, who ran a successful business empire, became bankrupt, owing to worsening market conditions. Now, in this country, bankruptcy may seem normal. But in India, 25 years ago, bankruptcy was a taboo. It was a cardinal sin. You couldn't do that. And my dad, after having declared that, things changed for us. Like a tsunami that wipes away a planned city, this event changed our lives drastically. The home in which I stayed was no longer mine. The car in which I traveled, making 1 million+ memories, was no longer mine. Just imagine a situation like this. And on top of that, so many of my friends and relatives deserted us as though we were untouchables. And to top it all, I did not know, and neither did my family, that we had enough money to take the next meal. So we had to eat less. Imagine, as a child, do you even understand what it means? In such a situation, these events had a deep impact on me. And when I gave my exam, instead of being on the top, I dropped to 40. And unable to understand what was exactly going on here, my mind now became like an antenna. You know an antenna? A device that picks up signals everywhere and thinks it's right. That's how my mind became. Some people said, oh, this is the price you pay for the sin your parents have done. And some would say, you are arrogant. And some would say, you are overconfident. But some would say, it's just a glitch. You've been doing so good, you will come across. My mind was now confused. Why should I even study? Why not work, earn some money, and help my family? Now, my mind was at perfect crossroads. I was stuck. I did not know what to do. Any of you come across such a crossroads situation in life? I'm sure we all have. Looking at my unease, My favorite teacher looked at me and said, I will teach you strategies to conquer your mind, because once you know your mind, you will know where to go. And so I'm here to discuss one such strategy that I applied, saw its result, and I'm here to share with you all. Are you all interested? Yes. Wonderful. So the name of this strategy is called retreat from the senses. How many of you here have seen a tortoise? I guess all of you, right? Have you seen a tortoise when it pushes its limbs inside, like it pushes its legs and inside? Do you know, or have you wondered why it does that, or when it does that? It does it when it senses it's under attack. When it thinks some enemy is trying to attack it, it pushes its limbs together so that the enemy thinks it's not an animal at all. That's the exact analogy and strategy that's applicable here, and this was established 3,000 years ago in India. You see, we all have senses: eyes, ears, nose, sense of our tongue that gives us taste, and a sense of touch. All these sense organs are so powerful. We all agree that, correct? They constantly help us drive our emotions, our decisions, and actions. Every day, as we hear something interesting, as we see something interesting, we are getting attracted to that. And that's all normal, because that's how we become incredible human beings, by using our senses. We all are incredible human beings. But these same senses that swing us into action can also swing us into a wrong direction. And without knowing, you will end up at crossroads and get stuck. Why does this happen? It's because our mind is constantly getting inputs from the senses, and the mind is acting on that. Now, in the Western world, mind means brain. But in the Eastern world, mind means energy that's inside your whole body, the complete energy that uses brain as the medium and drives you forward. So constantly, our senses are feeding our mind, and we are doing exactly what our senses are saying. But at some point, it will so happen that these senses will dominate our mind to that extent that we will lose our ability to think correctly. So what do we do at that time? That's when one of the best strategies to use is this retreat from the senses. What this means is a special meditation technique in which you begin to silence your senses. Basically, you sit down, quiet, forgetting all the sensory information, things that you've been hearing, listening, talking. Just keep them all silent. When you do that, your energy within you gets into focus. You are no longer distracted. As I began to practice this every day, I began to feel lighter. You know, sometimes when you take protein powder and you go to the gym each day, you can lift heavy weights, 50 pounds, 100 pounds. This technique almost became my protein powder, because every day I began to feel light. I began to look at people's judgments and their opinions with a different perspective. All the confusion that I had now became clarity, because now I knew what I wanted to do. I decided I'm going to go forward in the path of academics. And so I did, and with great focus, I gave the exams, and I bounced back to number one again, and also several grades later. The purpose of sharing this story is not to showcase my success, but to drive home a key point. The most dangerous battles in our life are fought in the mind. It is the senses that have a greater role to play to say, I'll make this battle dangerous for you or less dangerous. It's very important that we train our mind to activate itself so that we prevent ourselves from getting into those crossroads. It needs constant practice. End of the day, we have to realize that we have great friends in our life, correct? What do great friends do? What do great friends do? Help each other. Whether you are on top of a cliff or bottom of an ocean, your best friend is always there for you. You can count on them because their advice, their opinion works. What if you make your mind your best friend? And that's the technique we need to know about. Because the moment we train our minds to be our best friends, no matter where we are, no matter what circumstance we are, we will evolve. We will come out of that. And that's what we all need. Senses and emotions make us intelligent human beings. We are intelligent, no doubt. But when we conquer our mind, we begin to become influential human beings. And that's what this world needs. Which one would you want to be? Thank you.
Yeah.